Yeah, sure, I'll play a little from the beginning. It's like a 15-minute piece. So.
You go. Question and session now. If you've got any questions for us? Come. Hello. Is there a question?
We covered everything?
Oh, yes, hello.
Mr. Ormsby,
Yes.
Mr. Wilkins, you've played Sondheim for many different casts.
Yes.
And today there was a premiere.
Yes.
And I was wondering if you had paid any particular attention or given special care to this particular, or whenever there are premieres, as opposed to strictly keeping to the tempi of the music.
Every cast is a little different. And the only way you can, cope with that is to be in the studio. And I work always very closely with whatever cast. I've had 3 casts here, and they're all not a lot of difference, but just in phrasing, sometimes in the phrasing, and sometimes in the way in tempo. It might be hopefully not too I think exaggerated in terms of what they might do, but I think that Misty gave a very musical performance today, and I have found her very easy to accompany today, and I thought it was a very auspicious debut. she made. Yeah. And Alex as well, Alexandre Amoudi as well. I think there was a wonderful connection between the two. It grew up. It's great. I think I love, it's been my life to work with dancers, and there will always be times when you have to work out problems, but generally speaking, I have an incredible admiration for them and the hard work that they do. They just spend all day in the studio, and it's a really very physically demanding task and job that they have, and so I am only too happy to help them out where I can.
Another question? Yes?
This is more to congratulate you on bringing out such a range of colours and tones and sensitivity and passion from the orchestra today.
Well, thank you very much. But that's not just me. The orchestra was wonderful, and I just felt like they were with me all the way, and that you can't ask for more than that.
That's good. There was a question over here before, I thought.
You already answered it.
Okay. Yes, at the back.
Hi, Mr. Wilkins. I don't know a great deal about music because I'm a dancer myself, but I'm interested to know, naturally, you bring your own interpretation to the work when you stage it, and I just wondered what it was that you think you brought to this particular production that's unique to you, that, what was your inspiration and what did you bring of yourself to what you were presenting?
Well, I think there's, so much of the score is, there are three conductors, we have three conductors with us, and I'm sure that we're all quite different, and I have a vision of a lot of of it in terms of the sensitivity and of phrasing, which I spend a lot of time in trying to reproduce, and I think that's there's so much of this. If you know your choreography, if you know what's required up there, you can actually not exactly forget about it, but you can, if you have it there, if you're feeling with those, you can actually not be totally involved there, and and the orchestra appreciates that you take time over being cognizant of what they're trying to reproduce, and I think I'm trying to produce something that touches the audience. That's what I'm hoping will happen, and that's what we're all working for. I'm sure individually, the three of us have different ways of doing things, and people don't realize there's a lot of the ballet where you don't really have to worry too much about what's happening on stage, and you can bring something of your own personal quality to it, and whatever that is, I'm not sure that I can describe what that is, other than I just want to make you feel good about it.
I could say, as an observer, I felt that you bring a great balance to the whole structure, which is not always the case, and I thought it was beautifully balanced.
Well, thank you. Yes, I think that, a lot of the choreography is existing, has existed since this production of Swan Lake in particular is based on the 1895 production, because a lot of the choreography is Petipa or Ivanov, who did most of the second act choreography. See, it's based on that choreography, and there was, a lot of the order was changed too. So the pas de deux comes now before the solo. Tchaikovsky actually had the Odette solo before the pas de deux. He was consoled. I read this recently that he was, before he died, unfortunately, of course, he was 1893, I think, wasn't it, that he died. He was consulted, and there was talk about doing a new production, and he would be involved, and they might alter it in some ways, but of course, unfortunately, he went before that happened. But I know he had some discussion with Petipa about it. But in any case, what I'm trying to say is that there is existing choreography, and there are certain things that you have to follow or to be aware of. But the music speaks, whatever tempo, whatever you're doing, it's so powerful, this music, that you know, we can create something that is it's very, you know, I find it so easy to create something worthwhile with this music because it speaks so personally to everyone, I think. And it is important to think about the whole arc of a piece, if you can, even within the structure of the choreography. And I certainly do try
And that I think is so important to this sort of a work.
Absolutely.
Yes. Are there any more questions? Yes, two more there.
Just to slightly digress back to what the violinist was saying about working with Twyla Tharp, I was wondering if you could elaborate a little bit more on your experience of working with Twyla Tharp and how you found that as a musician.
Well, first of all, it's incredible, but what Ormsby does on a day-to-day basis, you know, working with dancers, working with a dance company, I really, my hat's off to you. That's something else. I've worked a little bit with dancers, and working with Twyla and a cast of, I don't know, 70 people probably, was, you know, it was quite a experience. You know, you kind of going in there. You both have your egos, you know, and I have my personal ways of playing Bach, and but like I said, you know, Twyla has her vision of her masterpiece, and that's really what this is. It's in itself, it's a masterpiece. And
this is a big ballet. I mean, it's a big cast. I'm not sure it's quite 70, but if you take the several casts, but it is a big cast.
Right.
It's a big ballet. It's a very complicated piece of choreography, and
About 20 or so?
it could be something like that. But
Yes.
it's a
It
that's a
seems
large
like
cast.
70.
Well, I had a question for Charles myself. Generally, when Ormsby's in the pit, he can see what's happening on stage, but the musicians can't. You're facing them, and you're watching all these intricate
Yes.
patterns. So does that influence how you play in the moment?
yeah, so I watch certain cues, you know, like for the premiere, I was facing the stage. I had a monitor, just in case, that gave me the full view of the stage. But I could also see them eye level. And, you know, I watch cues between each movements on where do I start, if I need to slow down. And, you know, I've worked with Marcelo Gomez before on several occasions.
Who's one of our principals, and who'll be dancing, I think, in the opening
Is it? Yeah.
performance of that. Yeah.
So Marcelo has a solo after a clearing, and I play a very a beautiful section there. And you know, since I know Marcelo so well, you know, I can tell if he wants it slower or not. Sometimes he'll wink at me. But
He's very seductive, Marcelo. Yeah.
that's right. That's right. But yeah, it's been quite an experience. I take those cues and.
The interesting thing is that I think what we tried to, you know, we actually, because most of all the early rehearsals took place, were done to tape, but what we did before was actually record Charles's version of it in consultation with the ballet mistress who was preparing it before Twyla ever got there, which was Susan Jones, wonderful person in the company, and we got together. It was last Met season, wasn't it? It was the in 2013, and we sat down and talked it through, and you know, where is it? What are the important flags that you need to know about that influence will influence the performance, and then Charles, you recorded it in your home laboratory, didn't you? Didn't you record it?
Well, we did it in the studio. You
Oh, we
guys were
did do-
sitting there.
Oh, right, we did do it in the studio, right, that's
Yeah,
right. It was later on when you did some alterations, right?
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
I just mixed it and I sent
That's
it to
right,
you
we
guys.
did, that's right.
I just sent you the Hyphus recording. That's really what I did.